January 15th, 1919. Boston's North End. It's a quiet, unseasonably warm winter afternoon. Suddenly, a sound like machine gun fire rips through the air. The ground begins to shake. And then, a tsunami hits the street. But this isn't water. It's a 25-foot-tall wave of hot, sticky molasses. Welcome to Law and Disorder. Today, we open the file on the strangest and sweetest industrial disaster in American history, the Great Molasses Flood. At the center of this disaster was a massive steel tank owned by the Purity Distilling Company. It was 50 feet tall and held over 2 million gallons of molasses, destined to be turned into industrial alcohol. But this tank was a ticking time bomb. It was built poorly and rushed into service. Local residents knew it leaked constantly. They said children would often sneak up with cups to collect the dripping syrup. Instead of fixing the leaks, the company simply painted the tank brown so the cracks wouldn't show. It was corporate negligence at its finest. At 12:30 p.m., the metal finally gave way. The rivets shot out like bullets. The explosion released a wave of molasses that moved at 35 miles per hour. It had the force of a freight train. It smashed buildings completely off their foundations. It bent elevated train tracks like pretzels. It trapped horses and people in a sticky, deadly grip. You couldn't swim in molasses. It was too thick. The harder people fought, the faster they suffocated. When the syrup finally settled, 21 people were dead and 150 were injured. The aftermath led to one of the most famous legal battles in history. The company tried to claim the tank was blown up by anarchist terrorists, but after a 6-year investigation involving 3,000 witnesses, the court ruled it was structural failure caused by the company cutting corners. It was a landmark case that helped establish modern corporate liability laws. For decades afterward, Boston residents claimed that on hot summer days, you could still smell molasses in the streets. Subscribe to Law and Disorder for more history where greed led to catastrophe.